Amara bolted out of the house, her heart pounding as rain soaked through her clothes. The words of her father echoed in her head like thunder. "Get out of my house, you disgrace, and don't you ever come back." The neighbors peeped through their windows, whispering and pointing as she stumbled down the muddy streets. Her bundle of clothes slipped from her hands and fell into the dirt. But she didn't stop. She couldn't. What had she done to deserve this? How had her life fallen apart in a single night? A pregnancy test strip had been found in her room, something she had never seen before. Ifeoma, her elder sister, had accused her without blinking an eye, and their father hadn't thought twice before throwing her out. When Pastor Chukwudi accused Amara of being pregnant, she couldn't believe it. "Papa, how can you say that?" she asked, her voice shaking. I have never..." "Keep quiet," Chukwudi barked. Amara turned to her mother. "Mama, you know me. How can I be pregnant?" Ebere hesitated, but Ifeoma burst into tears. "I didn't want to say anything," she sobbed. "But I caught her sneaking out. I just wanted to protect the family." Amara stared at her sister, shock giving way to anger. "You are lying!" Chukwudi didn't wait for more. "Pack your things and leave my house." Tears burned in Amara's eyes. "One day, the truth will come out, and when it does, don't come looking for me." She turned and ran into the night. But what Amara did not know was that the real betrayal wasn't about the pregnancy test strip. It was something far darker, something that would shatter her family in ways she couldn't imagine. And this was only the beginning. Ifeoma had always been jealous of Amara. It wasn't just about beauty or intelligence. It was the way their mother Ebere always had something good to say about Amara. One evening, Ifeoma was fetching water from the backyard when she overheard her mother talking to a neighbor. "That girl Amara is a blessing," Ebere said, pounding fufu. "She works like 10 sons. Even when I'm tired, she does not complain." Ifeoma clenched her fists. A blessing? Did her mother ever call her that? Instead, all she ever heard was, "Ifeoma, why can't you be like Amara? Ifeoma, why can't you do this like Amara? Ifeoma, why are you not like Amara?" Ifeoma's mind raced. If they thought Amara was so perfect, she would make them see otherwise. The next morning, Ifeoma started her plan. She told their father Chukwudi that she saw Amara sneaking out late at night. "I heard her whispering to a boy near the back gate," she said, widening her eyes for effect. Chukwudi frowned. "Amara, are you sure?" Ifeoma nodded eagerly. Even Mama Chinyere saw her. That was a lie. But it worked. Soon, little rumors started spreading. Amara was becoming stubborn. Amara was too bold. Amara thought she was too wise. Ifeoma smirked. This was just the beginning. The tension between Amara and Ifeoma wasn't new. Ifeoma had always been the favored one. Taller, lighter skinned, and quick with words. Amara, on the other hand, was quiet, hardworking, and often overlooked. One afternoon, Amara was returning from the market when she bumped into Obinna, a handsome young man from the neighborhood. He smiled at her, his white teeth gleaming. "Amara, right?" She nodded shyly. "Yes. I've seen you around. You're always busy helping your mother," Obinna said. "That is a good quality." Amara felt her cheeks flush. "Thank you." Before she could say more, Ifeoma appeared out of nowhere, her hands on her hips. "What is going on here?" Obinna greeted her politely, but Ifeoma ignored him. She grabbed Amara's arm and dragged her away. "Who told you to talk to boys?" Ifeoma hissed. "He was just being nice," Amara protested. "If Mama finds out, she will skin you alive," Ifeoma threatened. That evening, Their mother Ebere confronted Amara. "Is it true you were talking to a boy by the market road?" she asked. Amara stammered. Mama, it's not what you think, eh? It's not what you think, oh, he just greeted me. "If you disgrace this family, I won't forgive you," Ebere warned. Amara knew Ifeoma was behind the drama. Furious, she confronted her sister later that night. "I know you told Mama. Why do you always do this?" Before she could realize it, Ifeoma had slapped her. "How dare you talk to me in that manner? I'm not your mate." She hissed and walked past her. Later that day, Ifeoma washed her clothes and hung them outside. Amara, still seething, sneaked in, removed them from the rope and hid them. When Ifeoma came looking for her clothes and couldn't find them, she stormed into Amara's room, only to find it empty. One morning, Ebere sat Amara down. "You and Ifeoma need to stop fighting. Sisters are supposed to support each other." "But Mama, she hates me," Amara said quietly. "She doesn't hate you," Ebere replied. She's just different. Try to understand her." Amara nodded, but remained unconvinced. A week later, Ebere sent Ifeoma to the market. When she returned, her mood was unusually sour. She went straight to her room and slammed the door. That evening, their father, Pastor Chukwudi, called a family meeting. He held a pregnancy test strip in his hand. "Who does this belong to?" he asked, his voice cold. Amara froze, her mind racing. She had no idea where the test strip came from. "It's not mine, no," she said quickly. "Then whose is it?" Ifeoma didn't even flinch. She pointed at Amara. It was in her room. "What?" Amara exclaimed. "You are lying!" Chukwudi slammed his fist on the table. "Enough, Amara! Pack your things, you are leaving this house." Ebere tried to intervene. "Chukwudi, this isn't fair. At least let us confirm the truth." But Chukwudi was adamant. "She will not bring shame to my family." Amara packed her belongings amidst tears and left the house that night. Amara had nowhere to go. The streets were cold and hunger gnawed at her stomach. She found an empty stall in the market and curled up there, shivering through the night. In the morning, an old woman selling akara spotted her. "My child, why are you here?" Amara wiped her eyes. "I have nowhere to go." The woman sighed and handed her some food. "Life will test you, but don't panic." Encouraged, Amara went to the uncle's house, hoping for shelter. But when he opened the door and saw her, he frowned. "I heard what you did," he said. "I cannot have you here." The door shut in her face. Amara bit her lips. So this was how her father's lies had spread. It was only later with a heavy heart that she finally made her way to Chinwe's house. Amara sought refuge at her best friend Chinwe's house. After hearing her story, Chinwe was furious. "Don't worry," Chinwe said with a sly grin. "I have a plan." The next day, Chinwe disguised herself as a traveling herbalist and marched into Amara's house with a basket of concoctions. "Where is the pregnant woman in this house?" she announced loudly. Ifeoma came out startled. "What are you talking about? Don't deny it," Chinwe said. "I have herbs to make childbirth easier." Ifeoma turned pale and hurriedly sent her away. But Chinwe had already planted doubts in the minds of the neighbors. Ifeoma sat in her room, clutching her stomach. She had never expected things to go this far. The real father of her child wasn't some mysterious stranger. He was a married man, a respected pastor from the village. She remembered his warning. "If you tell anyone, I will deny it." And she knew he meant it. So when she realized she was pregnant, she panicked. That was when she had the idea. Blame Amara. It was easy. Now she only had one problem. What if the truth came out? Chinwe stormed into Chukwudi's compound, holding the pregnancy test results. Ifeoma is lying, she declared. This pregnancy is not Amara's problem. It's hers. Ifeoma gasped, tears spilling instantly. How can you say that? I'm being falsely accused. Chukwudi's face darkened. Get out, Chinwe. You want to bring confusion into my home. Chinwe gritted her teeth. Ifeoma was smarter than she thought. This wasn't going to be easy, but she wasn't giving up just yet. Late at night, Ifeoma sneaked into her father's room. Papa, I cannot do this anymore, she whispered. Amara will find out. Pastor Chukwudi, her father, sighed and gave her some money. Take this and keep quiet. Your mother must never know the truth. Ifeoma's heart pounded. The truth that her father wasn't as innocent as he seemed. And what will happen if it ever came out? Amara and Chinwe had had enough, so they set a trap. One day, they came with a fake DNA test, showing that Ifeoma's child would never be linked to Amara's so-called lover. Ifeoma's face drained. It's a lie. But the neighbors had gathered now. Tell us the truth, Ifeoma, eh? One woman called. Chukwudi shifted uncomfortably. Amara stepped forward. Ifeoma, if you don't tell them, I will. The pressure was too much. Ifeoma collapsed into tears. It was never Amara, she confessed. I lied. I lied about everything. Tension filled the air. Ebe returned to Chukwudi. And you threw our own daughter out over this. Under pressure, Ifeoma finally confessed. Fine. It's me. But I only did it because I did not know what else to do. Papa would have killed me. Who is the father? Ifeoma hesitated before whispering. Papa. The compound went silent. Chukwudi tried to leave, but the villagers blocked him. Ebere slapped him, and the slap cracked through the air. You have destroyed my family, she said, her voice shaking with rage. Chukwudi tried to deny it, but Ifeoma stood her ground. I'm tired of hiding the truth. She fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face. Mama, I'm sorry. He convinced me with money and gifts. He even promised to buy me a car. I resisted though, but he kept persuading me. Please forgive me. She turned to Amara. Sister, my dear sister, I'm sorry, please. Daddy planned everything to throw you out. According to him, the problem must have been settled before you come back home. Chinwe and Amara lifted her up and hugged her as tears rolled down their faces. Chukwudi, unable to bear the shame, ran into his room, packed his belongings and left the house in disgrace. Ebere vowed to rebuild her home. The village elders gathered the next day. Chukwudi stood before them, his face fell. You dishonored your family. The chief said, you must leave the village. Disgraced, Chukwudi packed his things and disappeared. The sisters moved to a new village with their mother, leaving their painful past behind. Though their relationship remained strained, Ifeoma never disappointed her mother again, even as her belly grew. Months later, she gave birth to a baby girl and named her Divine Solace, a reminder of the pain and strength that shaped their lives. Divine Solace grew into a young woman, admired by many. Amara, on the other hand, became a successful businesswoman, hardworking, independent, and deeply devoted to her family. Amara was successful, and Ifeoma's child had grown into a bright little girl. One evening, the girl asked, Mama, Where is grandpapa? No one had spoken of Chukwudi for years. And then one day he returned, old, weak and desperate. I have nowhere else to go, he said, his voice shaking. Amara stared at him, years of pain rising in her chest. She had a choice. Years later, she shared her story as a testament to resilience and the unbreakable bond of sisterhood, because in the end, truth had set them free. And so the story ends, but the lessons linger. And until next time, keep the fire of our tales burning bright.